Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our fourth annual Founders Award series. Today is the first of four events that will happen each Thursday in May from noon to 1 o'clock. We are honoring 8 outstanding women in our community for their accomplishments, their courage, and their example. And now, please meet the 2021 Founders Award honorees. Each honoree will receive this beautiful engraved silver plate tray donated by Krogan's Jewel Box. I'll be delivering those next week. While we honor these women, we're also highlighting the work of Trident Literacy and the critical role women play in the education of their families. Women and girls around the world with low literacy face many challenges and are at risk for major issues, including poverty, sex trafficking, infectious diseases, incarceration, gender inequality, violence, and child labor. More than 43 million adults in the U.S. cannot read, write, or do basic math above a third grade level. 65% are women. At Trident Literacy, 56% of our students are women trying to make a better life for themselves and their children. When women increase their skills, they increase their income. When they increase their income, they use their new earnings to improve their education, health, and nutrition, and that of their families. They become better able to read to their young children and help them with their schoolwork. They set an example. They teach their children that education is important. Thank you all for supporting Trident Literacy. You are changing lives and making the world a better place for all humankind. And now a special shout out to our founder, Pat Gibson. Pat had 2 experiences that led to the founding of Trident Literacy. Once she was asked by an older man at the local card shop if a greeting card said the right thing for his grandson. When she paid for her purchase, the clerk thanked Pat for helping the man and said, "He's in here all the time buying cards, but he can't read them." Another time at the voter registration office, Pat watched an older woman at the front of the line approach the desk. The clerk handed the woman an index card and told her that successful registration required her to read the contents of it. The woman turned the card over and upside down, studied it carefully, and placed it back on the desk and left. Since she couldn't read, she couldn't register to vote. Those experiences planted the seed that launched Trident Literacy in 1972. In the beginning, Pat matched up students and tutors, volunteer tutors, and kept track on index cards that she kept in a shoebox under her bed. From that small shoebox, Trident Literacy has grown into an award-winning adult education program with locations throughout the Tri-County. On average, Trident Literacy provides instruction to more than 800 students annually with the help of nearly 150 volunteers. In 49 years, tens of thousands of adults have increased their skills, earned their GED, learned English as a second language, gone on to higher education, training programs and apprenticeships, and qualified for jobs. They have changed the life course for themselves and their families and reversed the cycle of generational poverty and illiteracy for generations to come. Thank you, Pat. As Margaret Mead so eloquently said, Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And now, a big thank you to our sponsors. Thank you all very much. Now, for the format for today's event, each of our honorees will give an opening statement. Then I will ask them a series of questions to keep the conversation rolling. We welcome your questions too, so please feel free to put them in the chat box. Interspersed in the program, you will hear from some of our sponsors and meet some of our students. Now it is my honor to introduce Chris Zoller, Chief Opportunity and Marketing Officer of the Post and Courier, to introduce our honoree, Nilsy Rapalo.
Hello, and welcome to the first event in Trident Literacy's 4th Annual Founders Award Series. The Post and Courier is proud to be the equity sponsor for the 4th consecutive year. At the Post and Courier, we know literacy is the foundation of our existence. It is fundamental to everything we do. It's like the air we breathe, the ground we walk on, and without it, we cannot function. It is our ticket to life, and it raises us up and gives us freedom. With literacy, we can engage the world, improve our community, achieve economic prosperity, and build a productive lives for ourselves and our families. The Post-and-Courier is a natural partner for Trident Literacy. We share these values and we share our commitment to make our community and our world a better place for everyone. On behalf of the Post-and-Courier, we congratulate all of the honorees. And also, congratulations to Trident Literacy for your excellence and impressive track record of 49 years of helping people change the course of their lives. I now have the pleasure of introducing today's honoree, Nilsy Rapalo. Nilsy is a clinical psychologist from the Universidad del Norte in Colombia and a certified life coach by the International Coach Academy in Australia. She has been working in mental health field since 1996 in the United States and Colombia with patients and clients with cultural diversity. She has carried out research on mental health issues and infertility and has experience as a columnist and a radio personality as well as television and film. Nilsy is an eye movement trauma technique specialist for the South Carolina Department of Mental Health and the author of the award-winning book, Spiritual Immigration, A Path of Inspiration and Well-Being. She was awarded the Martin Luther King Award in 2016 and is a current board member of South Carolina Commission of Minority Affairs of the Governor's Office. In the past, she was a board member of the Disability Issues Committee of the University of South Carolina, as well as the member of the Hispanic Affairs Committee of the College of Nursing at the Medical University of South Carolina. She facilitates the Spanish training for the Community Business Academy at Low Country Local First. Please welcome and congratulate Nilsy.
We're having a little technical difficulty. Nilsy, if you can hear me, your microphone and video are off. If you could turn those on so we can see and hear you. We're excited.
Can you see me now?
Yes, you're perfect.
Okay, now. Can you hear me? Okay, fantastic. Good afternoon. I am very honored to be here today sharing this moment with you. It is not just about receiving an award, which personally fills me with joy and pride, but about receiving something that represents the life and struggle of many others who, as I once did, arrived in this great country with a suitcase full of dreams and memories. That is why today I'm going to address the institutions for adults. When immigrants like myself arrive in this country as adults, we want to learn or improve our English. Institutions like Trident Literacy, which English classes and GED classes welcome and support these new citizens. An award is beyond a recognition of a person, it recognizes several generations of a family, many people and institutions that weave the thread of one life. Education ends up being a door to opportunities that change any person's life and the life of any immigrant, their family, and their community. Trident Literacy supports the community not only with English classes, it also assists with computer courses, job search programs, family and children literacy, and the First Step program for children under 18 months to 4 years of age. One day, I was one who needed to take English classes to continue with my career in this country. Tomorrow, new immigrants will have their first day of class and their first day of dreams and challenge. I will continue to send new students to Trident Literacy while serving on the Minority Affairs Commission Board of the Governor's Office, the Latinx Board of the Charleston Mayor's Office, and the Hispanic Business Association Board. These associations allow me to be a voice of love and well-being to empower others to evolve as one day someone empowered me to dream. Ahora en español. Buenas tardes, me encuentro muy honrada de estar aquí con ustedes. Me da de alegría y orgullo, sino de recibir algo que representa la vida y lucha de muchos otros, que como lo hice una vez, llegamos a este gran país con una maleta llena de sueños y recuerdos. Por eso hoy voy a dirigirme a las instituciones para los adultos. Cuando inmigrantes como yo llegamos a este país ya siendo adultos y queremos aprender o mejorar nuestro inglés, son las instituciones como Trident Literacy, que ofrecen clases de inglés y validación de la educación del bachillerato o preparatoria, que las acogen y apoyan a este nuevo ciudadano. Un premio va más allá de ser un reconocimiento a una persona, es un reconocimiento a varias generaciones de una familia, a muchas personas e instituciones que tejen los hilos de una vida. La educación termina siendo una puerta de oportunidades que cambia la vida de cualquier persona y definitivamente la vida de un inmigrante, de su familia y de su comunidad. Trident Literacy apoya a la comunidad no solo con clases de inglés, sino también de computación, programas para la búsqueda de trabajo, apoyo de la educación familiar y educación de los hijos de los estudiantes de 18 meses a 4 años con el programa Primeros Pasos. Un día fui yo la que necesitó tomar clases de inglés para continuar con su profesión en este país. Mañana serán nuevos inmigrantes que tendrán su primer día de clases y su primer día de sueños y retos. Yo seguiré enviando estudiantes a Trident Literacy mientras esté trabajando en la Junta de Comisión de Asuntos Minoritarios de la Oficina de la Gobernación, en la Junta de Latinx de la Oficina del Alcalde de Charleston y en la Junta de la Asociación de Negocios Hispanos. En cada una de estas juntas seré voz de amor y bienestar para empoderar a otros también a evolucionar, como un día alguien a mí me invitó a soñar. Gracias.
Gracias, and thank you so much, Nilsy. It looks like Nina has lost internet connection, but we're going to go ahead and introduce her, and hopefully she'll get it back in time. I want to introduce Trident Literacy Board member Joanne Sherman to introduce Nina.
Thank you. Nina Cano Richards is a first-generation Bolivian immigrant who has dedicated her career as an attorney advocating for immigrants' rights. Since 2015, Nina has been serving immigrant residents in Charleston through her own law firm, Cano Law, LLC. She has made the motto of her firm, keeping families together, to fuel their work with victims of crime and immigrants petitioning their family members. Nina's dedication to her community can be seen through her multiple intersectional efforts to uplift those among us who are the most vulnerable to unfair and destructive policies. Her volunteer work includes helping detained immigrants through the CARA Pro Bono Project, the Southern Poverty Law Center's Sci-Fi Project, and with Pro Bar in South Texas. In 2018, Nina represented parents who were forcibly separated from their children at the Purcell Immigrant Detention Center. In her return to Charleston, Nina joined forces with other advocates to form the Charleston Immigration Coalition, where she led the efforts to launch other advocates to a campaign to end 287G in Charleston County. She is also a founder of Charleston VOTA, a Latinx government organization dedicated to encouraging civic engagement. Due to her success, she was elected as second vice chair of the Charleston County Democratic Party. Prior to launching her own law firm, Nina worked with ProBar, providing pro bono representation to unaccompanied minor children from Central America during the UAC crisis of 2014. Nina received her Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science from Winthrop University and her Doctor of Jurisprudence from Florida Law School in 2013. Nina is committed to working on community initiatives, public policy advocacy, educational platforms to better the lives of immigrants in South Carolina. Aside from practicing immigration law in South Carolina, Nina is also a member of the Florida Bar and also the Texas Bar. A warm welcome to Nina.
I think we don't have Nina right now. So wait.
Hi, Eileen. Thank you. Thank you for that warm welcome and good afternoon, everyone. I am just so excited to be here with you today, along with the beautiful Nilsy Rapalo. My name is Nina Cano Richards, and I'm an immigration attorney with Cano Law, where our mission since 2015 has been to keep our families together. The mission for me started in 1995, when my family made the hard decision to leave everything that we knew behind. Our family, my grandparents, my aunts, uncles, our homeland, our traditions, our language, and our entire lives that we loved and cherished in Bolivia. This was in exchange for a shot at the stories that we heard of an American dream, a land where the rule of law is respected and people are treated equally with dignity and respect. A land where, regardless of the color of one's skin, if we work hard enough, we may have a chance to persevere. And this is why I do what I do. This is why I fight for immigrant rights, inside and outside of the courtroom, to reach back and ensure that people like me, people like my family, who immigrated here in search for a better life, have someone in their corner fighting for them, fighting as hard as we can. And whether we're representing the father of a US citizen who is facing deportation, or we're representing an undocumented victim of crime who's trying to navigate our extremely complicated criminal justice system, my mission is to keep our families together and to use my voice to bring light to the issues affecting populations that may be too afraid to speak out loud. It is my sincere privilege to work in this space, and I am looking forward to this conversation about our experiences today. And I will repeat this in español. Buenas tardes a todos. Estoy muy emocionada de estar aquí el día de hoy con ustedes junto a la hermosa y brillante Nilsy Rapalo. Mi nombre es Nina Cano Richards y yo soy una abogada de inmigración en Cano Law, donde nuestra misión desde el 2015 ha sido a mantener a nuestras familias unidas. Y esta misión empezó en el 1995, cuando yo y mi familia tomamos una decisión muy difícil de dejar atrás todo lo que conocíamos. Nuestra familia, mis abuelos, mis tías, mis tíos, nuestra patria, nuestras tradiciones, nuestra comida, el idioma, todo a cambio de un sueño americano que habíamos escuchado una y otra vez, una tierra donde se respeta la ley y donde las personas son tratadas con igual y con respeto y dignidad. Una tierra donde, independientemente del color de nuestra piel, si trabajamos lo suficiente, sabemos que podemos tener una oportunidad a perseverar. Por eso es lo que yo hago. Por eso es lo que yo lucho por los derechos de inmigrantes. Yo hago este trabajo para asegurarme de personas como yo, personas como mis papás, como mi familia, que inmigraron aquí en busca de una vida mejor, tengan a alguien en su lado luchando por ellos dentro y fuera del tribunal. Ya que sea que estemos representando al padre de un niño ciudadano estadounidense que enfrenta una deportación, o estamos representando a una víctima indocumentada de violencia doméstica, les ayudamos a navegar este sistema complicado que es nuestro sistema de juicios. Mi misión es mantener a nuestras familias unidas y usar mi voz para aclarar los problemas afectando a nuestras poblaciones que pueden tener mucho miedo y dolor para hablar en sus propias voces. Es mi privilegio trabajar en este espacio y espero poder compartir esta experiencia con ustedes el día de hoy. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, and thank you so much, Nina. We're going to take a brief sponsor break.
It's uncommon for a paper the size of the Post and Courier to have dedicated health reporters the way that we do. I think the Post and Courier has a keen ability to take the long view and to think through what stories are going to be the most important. We're able to take on some really complicated topics and make them understandable for people. Some of these topics are ones that the community might not know about otherwise unless the Post and Courier decided to write about them.
Meet Kira. Kira got married at a young age and started a family. She worked with her husband painting houses. One day when she was dropping her 3 kids off at daycare, she saw other women going to work dressed in business clothes. She decided she wanted to do that too. She enrolled in Trident Literacy, earned her GED, and is now enrolled in Trident Tech pursuing her degree.
Okay, now we want to have some conversations. The first question for both of you. Both of you have such diverse backgrounds and have done so many wonderful things. One of the things we help our students with at Trident Literacy is choosing a career path. Tell us how you got started in the United States or in your own country and how you chose your career paths. Certainly you might have had some mentors or some hurdles along the way. We'd love to hear more detail about that. Nilsy, why don't you go first? Can we get, here she is.
Yes, well, I really continue my career in the United States. I started my career in 1996 in Colombia as a clinical psychologist, and when I moved to the States, I just continue working here. The difference was, Aline, to be able to decide to continue working in the clinical settings and working with immigrants. That was a challenge because when you are an immigrant, you have a sense of identity, and then embracing other immigrants is like getting married with each culture and each country. Then for me, it was like a new beginning. Even I was already a psychologist to be able to understand the different backgrounds, the different countries. My decision was because I was living that life in parallel. I was an immigrant. It was beautiful to see how we can have access to resources and institutions that can change people's life. I picked this career because the school that I went, that is known as Shakira's high school, but it's my high school, it's my school. They promote a lot of service. And then, always is about, doesn't matter the role that you have in life, you need to serve others. Then I got inspired for that. I really love the sense of solidarity and compassion to be able to help others to move forward in life. Then I just continue that path and that mission that one day was ignite in my heart, and to continue offer that to the immigrant community in Charleston area.
Nina? Can we spotlight Nina?
And what was the question, Eileen? Was it how did we get into the line of work?
Yes. How did you choose your career path? Did you have hurdles along the way, mentors?
Yeah, I guess you could say that I started this work when I was 7 years old. I know our first generation audience will understand, but I started translating and advocating for my family, at a really young age. And I look back as an adult and I realize how really resilient my parents were in integrating into life in the US. My dad started a business when I was about 11 or 12 years old. And I remember translating workers' compensation policies, at a very young age, not really understanding what the terms meant, but, we were giving it the best shot we had. had. And as an adult, I now realize how hard it was for immigrants, especially if they weren't U.S. citizens, to get, this type of life going, starting a business, getting an education, and furthering your life. And in order to remedy that, we sought out the help of an attorney to start an immigration process. And I recall my family loading up the car one morning, and we drove up to Virginia to meet with an attorney that a friend had recommended. And at this meeting, we spent our entire life savings, I would say $15,000, to have a shot at adjusting our immigrant status. And we found out years later, when I was in high school, that this attorney had swindled money out of hundreds of immigrants like my family and had not actually filed our immigration paperwork. So after we found out that this firm had shut down their office unannounced and without providing us copies of our documents, we hired an immigration attorney here in Charleston who was able to save our applications and finish this process for us many, many years later. And we were lucky to have found a good attorney who was able to make this difference in our lives. But we had to wait for years, and we had to wait through the process of a broken immigration system. I had to wait past the time when I was 15 and my high school classmates were getting driver's licenses and I couldn't drive. I had to wait, past college when South Carolina enacted the law prohibiting non-citizens from enrolling in higher education. And I had to leave. I went through so many challenges as an immigrant myself, but I can't imagine the challenges that my family and my parents went through as adults. I went through so many opportunities that could have been mine, but I couldn't access because of my status. And all of these experiences are really the catalyst for pursuing a political science degree at Winthrop University, and later my Juris Doctorate at Florida Coastal School of Law. And after law school, I went on to work at the border of Texas and Mexico in the Rio Grande Valley, overseeing local services at facilities where unaccompanied immigrant children were held after they were arrested by Customs and Border Patrol at the border and found with no parents. Hearing the stories of why these children decided to take on the journey to the United States, along with my experiences as a first-generation immigrant, encouraged me to work with asylum seekers and those facing deportation proceedings, with a focus on children and the effects of deportation on their well-being. Now I am the owner of Cano Law, and we employ many immigrants who have themselves gone through the process, and we really look forward to making a difference in their lives every day through our work.
So let's talk a little bit about what it was like when you first came to this country. How did you learn English? I mean, Nina, you said you translated for your parents. Nilsy, what was it like? Here's a new country with customs that you don't understand. What must that feel like?
Oh, well, let me tell you, it is a challenge. It is a challenge because I started living in San Francisco in 2000. And then my husband still makes jokes about, she used to go to Mission District just to eat tamales and talk to people in Spanish. But you are trying to find your tribe. You are trying to find the place where you can get support and love and have just a little piece of that flavor that you miss from home. Then definitely I went to the adult education during the day until I was trying to get a job and being able to improve my English. Also taking classes in college to be able to develop my grammar skills and reading skills better, Then it was a challenge because I feel that I am a completely different person in English than in Spanish. My level of confidence in English is not the same than my level of confidence in Spanish. Then it still is a challenge. I live with that. I accept that, as you accept anything in your life. But at the end, it's a daily learning process. Every day you find a word that you need to learn. You find a new way to say it. Still, I have my amazing Diana always helping me with my pronunciation and everything. Then it's not over, Eileen. This process is in play, it's still playing. It is amazing to do that every day.
Thank you. Nina?
Well, as a child, it's so much easier to learn English, when you're 8, 9 years old. So I learned English real quick. My parents, the first thing they taught me was our phone number. And then the second phrase that I was taught was, can you play with me? So I could make friends at school. But I do remember, my parents going to take English classes at St. Andrews High School back when it was a high school over on in West Ashley. And we went to these classes, and I noticed in those classes, it wasn't just, Bolivians. There were people from India. There were people, like you said, from Africa, from Asia, any country, any continent, you could find them all under the same roof, learning the same language, which was really incredible.
Thank you. I don't know if you all can see in the chat box, but everyone is just saying congratulations, and no wonder you two wonderful women have been chosen for this award. So it's very lovely to hear that from all of the people watching today. So right now we're going to take a quick sponsor break, and then we'll be back with the next question.
What sets the Steinberg Law Firm apart from other firms is our genuine compassion and desire to help each and every one of our clients.
Our motto of getting the firm behind you says it all.
We have a great track record representing injured folks.
Everybody collaborates on each case together.
We have a collective mission and a passion to help injured workers. Get the firm behind you.
When something's just right, it's hard to find, but easy to recognize. You know it's just the perfect fit. At South State Bank, that's us. The sweet spot between a big bank and a small one. So you get the services you need, combined with the service you need too. High tech and high touch. Sophisticated and simple. Right here at South State.
Welcome back. Now we're ready for question number 2. So both of you help immigrants in our community in different ways and with different experiences. Can you share some personal stories regarding some experiences with helping immigrants? Certainly there have been some highs, and certainly there have been some lows. We'd love to hear about them. Nina, you go first this time.
Yeah, I will share a story that is near and dear to my heart. As I mentioned previously, at our office, we have the privilege of working with all types of immigrants, including asylum seekers, most of whom are composed of Central American women fleeing domestic violence and who are unable to rely on their government for protection from this violence. And these cases really have been the most heartbreaking to work through in our office, because these women go through so much to get to the United States, and they go through so much to establish a life here. And oftentimes we can't get the result that they, need and deserve at the very end. And, they do have to go back home. So I'll share the story. I represented a young woman who came to the United States with her mother after the young woman and her mom had fled from domestic abuse by their father, the father in the family. And it's difficult to talk about this story because this super mom really did so much to get here. Not only did she jeopardize her safety, but she sold her business, she sold her belongings, and she sold everything that she owned in order to get enough money to put her and her daughter at risk of making the journey to the United States. And the journey to the United States isn't easy. I learned when I was working down at the border that at least 1 in 4 women have a chance of facing sexual violence on the journey to the United States. I saw so much of this when I was working down at the border. And when I was working with this mom, she did everything right. She showed up for her court proceedings. She went to her ICE check-ins. She saved up enough money to hire an attorney, and she got all of the evidence that she possibly could about what she faced in her home country. And so we started an immigration process for the both of them. But the daughter had a stronger case. So we posed a question before the mom, where she was faced with a decision of, if the mom was denied an immigration benefit, if she was denied her immigration status and we lost at court, Would she be willing to leave her child in the United States with another caretaker to keep her safe? And this is the most difficult decision that a parent can make. But she decided yes, that she would do anything to help keep her daughter safe and anything to give her daughter an opportunity at a better life here in the US. Anything to make her future brighter. We attended numerous hearings over several years and prepared an incredible case. But before a decision was made on the daughter's case, the daughter committed suicide, leaving behind her heartbroken mother, who had literally given up everything for her daughter. The daughter had so much trauma that she could not overcome. Trauma from leaving her country, trauma from adjusting to a new country that didn't want her, trouble adjusting to the schools despite bullying on first-generation immigrants, and being told over and over and over again that this legal process is not sure and it takes time. Years after her death, we received a notice from immigration. Her case was approved. By this time, the mom had given up, had lost contact with her office, and her case disappeared. We can provide immigrant legal services, but asylum seekers and our immigrant communities need so much more. They deserve so much more. And this is why I'm so thankful for Trident Literacy Center for providing the English as a second language classes, because this is step one to integrating to a new life in the United States, being able to communicate with people. And I'm so thankful to Nilsy Rapalo, who works in promoting the mental health of immigrant families. She and I have worked on a few cases together, and we understand how deeply a person's immigration status affects their mental health, their stability, and their ability to just be a part and integrate into our communities here in the US. So while I don't have a rosy story to tell, this is simply the reality of what it's like to be a new immigrant coming into the United States.
That's quite the story. Nilsy? No. Should I go ahead? Okay, can you hear me? While we're working on your sound, Nilsy, you can break in when your sound comes up, just break in. But
well, I'll just real quickly give her a little helpful hint. So on the bottom of your screen, there's a microphone and a video. If you click on the microphone, it should take your mute off. You did that and it didn't work. Okay.
All right, keep working and then just break in. But Nina, in your bio, you referred to some law, I forgot the number, 287 or something, G, that you're trying to, could you sort of tell us what that's all about?
Sure. So 287G is a law that it's a voluntary agreement between Immigration Customs Enforcement and our local law enforcement, so that once a immigrant has gone through a criminal process, they're placed with a 48-hour detainer on their person so that they're not released and immigration can come and arrest them. And so this creates a big problem because we have people who, for example, were arrested for a broken taillight or were arrested for running a stop sign. And, you know, instead of just being able to pay the $250 fine or whatever fine they have for that traffic infraction, they now face an entire immigration deportation situation where they have to go to court and defend, you know, their ability to stay in the United States. And to me, this causes a real big problem with the police department's ability to be able to gain the trust and confidence from the immigrant population here in the US. And so what happens with that is that our office ends up getting phone calls from victims of crime who are afraid to call the police because they think that the police is going to arrest them for being undocumented and turn them into immigration authorities. And so at our office, we get phone calls of people asking, I'm trying to leave a domestically violent situation. I'm not sure that I can because my significant other will call ICE. Or I was robbed and I don't want to report to the police because they told me they're going to call ICE on me. So when these threats to their because of their immigration status are present, people are really paralyzed as a result of their fear. And so the Charleston Immigrant Coalition worked really hard to be able to bring these issues to light, and we advocated in the sheriff's race for the 287G agreement to be rescinded. And we were happy when Sheriff Graziano was elected on day one. She rescinded the 287G agreement as a promise to the immigrant community to repair those relationships and really provide them a sense of safety and security so that they can call the police without fear that immigration is going to be contacted.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's time for another quick station break, and then we'll return for our final question. Back on, Nilsy.
Meet Nathan. Nathan's boss made him enroll at Trident Literacy Association. After he earned his GED, he got a big pay raise, and was able to work more hours, moved into his own apartment, and bought a car. Nathan is now enrolled in Trident Tech's criminal justice program.
Okay, so question number 3. What do you think is the most significant issue facing immigrants, and especially women immigrants in Charleston today? But Nilsy, you're going to go first, and you're going to answer question number 2 and combine it with question number 3. Or really, you can tell us anything you want to tell us that we need to know.
Yeah, can you see me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I have a story of a lady that she came from Mexico and she was kidnapped as a child. She spent a lot of her childhood in the jungle, never went to school, never had the opportunity to get education. And when she came to this country, she was facing a lot of trauma, and working with her on trauma issues had been helping her to be able to access to the services that we have in the community to help our Hispanic patients to move forward in life. Then it is like a step to be able, as Nina said, we have worked together in several cases, and being able to see how somebody coming from trauma or having challenges, situations in their life, they can heal, and we can work together and we can help them in some way to create a new life here. Then I can tell you 10,000 stories like that, but I really love that one because after years of treatment, now this person would be able to graduate for first time in her life and completing a degree in our community and changing her life because she's now doing something that she wasn't able to do it as a child because she was kidnapped for many years. Then there are stories that touch our heart and we see them thriving, and then we say, okay, this is why we do this every day.
Thank you. Okay, the next part of the question, what do you think is the most significant issue facing immigrants today, and what advice would you give to immigrants or to women or to anyone? Go ahead, Nilsy.
Well, I really want to empower. Yes, I want to empower them to really ask questions and request support. Sonia Sotomayor is an inspiration for all the Latinas. And, she was able to go to Yale University and Princeton because she was able to get benefits from the affirmative action, which accommodate the students that they don't have enough scores to be able to go to school. And I really believe that one of her advices is always get support and ask for help. And I want to empower our community to do that. If we are failing as a system to you, if we are not doing the right work, that right now we are dealing with the issue with Charleston School District not providing accommodation in Spanish for the families. We need to advocate for that. We need to create the conversation, and we need to just open opportunities to solve the problem. But that starts with everyone asking questions and saying, this is my situation and this is what's going on, and to trust us, to trust the leaders in the community, because we are here to help you and we are here to inspire you. Thank you.
Thank you. Nina.
I think that the biggest issue affecting women in Charleston is immigrant women in Charleston specifically is accessibility to resources and programs in a way that considers language barriers, cultural norms, and a lack of immigration status, which contributes to a paralyzing fear of many immigrants to access these resources. And I mentioned earlier that, while I run a law office, at times it feels like I often run a nonprofit for social services because the need is so huge. We receive phone calls from mothers who want to know if it's safe for them to get Medicaid for their U.S. citizen children because they heard that immigration is deporting people who seek public benefits. We fielded calls from people asking if it's okay for them to go to the emergency room to receive COVID treatment because they heard immigration is looking for those people as well. And we've received phone calls from women trying to escape in the middle of a domestically violent situation, asking us if it's okay for them to call the police. And as a result of these calls is why we've made it our mission at this office to bring light to these issues. And we have to keep in mind that I think as community resource providers that in the Latinx culture, the female really plays a role as a primary caretaker for the family. They're tasked with finding out information not only about how to enroll their kids in school, not only about how their kids can go to college, but also about their immigration status and how they can overcome that insurmountable burden. I don't think that we realize just how big of an immigrant population we have here in Charleston as well. I was looking up statistics the other day, and about 10% of people identify as Latinx or Hispanic in the North Charleston area. And to me, that is huge. I came to this country in '95 when we had one Mexican restaurant in the entire Charleston area. Now we've got 4 at each corner of my office. So, there's been a lot of changing dynamics in Charleston. And I think that, my advice to other community resource providers would be to keep this in mind and, not let these people remain in the shadows, but help them come out of there by offering up, culturally appropriate and language access to the resources that we already provide, in our city of Charleston.
One final question. What can individuals do? Is there anyone we can call, anyone we can lobby? What can individuals do to help? Nina?
Individuals, anybody who's watching, if they want to help our immigrant population, a simple thing to do is just to keep an eye out and share, use your voice to share resources. And social media is so easy for that, right? And so right now we have an issue with a disproportionate effect of COVID-19 on the Latinx population. And so, anytime that we see a flyer popped up and it's in Spanish, go ahead and share it, because I'm sure you all have, Spanish speaking friends that will see it and will share it themselves. So share the wealth, share the resources, share the information, because our city surely is friendly enough and big enough to welcome all.
Nilsy?
Thank you, Nina. Well, I really want to empower every citizen just to be a mentor or a volunteer. Because if you are good as an engineering, if you are good in literacy, if you are good in health issues, you can be a mentor, you can be a volunteer. Just reach out to the organizations and say how I can support, how I can mentor an immigrant that can change their life. And we have that right now. We are trying to help business owners because we have the first Spanish class, Business Academy. Then we are trying to help these business owners that they are here already in Charleston to try to move forward, to do great things. Then any business owner that want to mentor them, they are welcome to be part of the low country local fairs and help these immigrants. But in that area, we have people in the school that can be reading to a child, that can be participating in the activities. Then doesn't matter what are you good at. Anything, any talent, any wisdom, your voice, your light, please share it as a mentor, as a volunteer.
Thank you. And please feel free to send anyone to Trident Literacy to enroll in our English as a Second Language program and our GED program.
Yes.
That was the fastest hour I've ever spent. We are completely out of time. I want to thank you both so very much. We are so proud to honor you today with Trident Literacy's Founders Award 2021. You have really inspired us and educated us, and we're all better people because of you. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I hope you will join us next Thursday, May 13th at 12 o'clock noon for part 2 in our series, when we will honor Julie Armstrong, the Charleston County Clerk of Court, and Susan Dunn, Legal Director of the ACLU-SC. Tickets are available on our website, tridentlit.org/events. Please enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Look at all the chats coming in. Oh, that's my daughter. I'm not.